NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, traces its roots back to the early 20th century when stock car racing began in the United States. The sport gained popularity during the Prohibition era when bootleggers modified their cars for speed to outrun law enforcement. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, stock car racing became organized, leading to the formation of NASCAR in 1948 by Bill France Sr. The first officially sanctioned NASCAR race was held in Daytona Beach, Florida on February 5, 1948. Over the years, NASCAR evolved, with key milestones including the evolution of the series from the Winston Cup to the Nextel Cup to the Monster Energy Cup to the NASCAR Cup Series today. We've witnessed the expansion of tracks across the country and the development of a fan base. NASCAR's growth saw the emergence of legendary drivers like Richard Petty, Cale Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who have played pivotal roles in shaping the sport's legacy. NASCAR's popularity soared in the late 20th century and early 21st century, attracting large sponsorships and media attention. The sport became a staple of American culture with its unique blend of competition, strategy, and high-speed action, continuing to captivate fans across the nation. NASCAR slot cars have a history that parallels the rise and popularity of NASCAR itself. Slot car racing became a phenomenon in the mid-20th century, particularly in the 1960s and 70s. These miniature cars were raced on electrified tracks with grooves or slots, in which the car's guide pins fit to keep them on the track. The relationship between NASCAR and slot car racing has been intertwined since the heyday of slot car racing in the 60s and 70s. During this era, NASCAR-themed slot cars gained immense popularity, mirroring the rise of NASCAR as a major motorsport. Slot car manufacturers recognized the opportunity to capture the excitement of NASCAR racing in miniature, accessible format. The first NASCAR-themed slot car is widely credited to the Lionel Corporation's NASCAR 400 slot car set, released in the 1960s. Lionel was a well-known company in the model train industry, and they ventured into slot car racing during the slot car craze of that era. The NASCAR 400 set included slot cars modeled after popular NASCAR stock cars of the time, and it featured a 1/32nd scale track with banked curves, providing a realistic racing experience for enthusiasts. The set allowed fans to race miniature replicas of their favorite NASCARs, bringing the excitement of NASCAR racing into their homes. This release marked a significant milestone in the slot car industry, as it combined the widespread popularity of NASCAR with the emerging fascination with slot car racing, creating a new dimension of enjoyment for fans of both hobbies. Since then, NASCAR-themed slot cars have remained a popular choice among slot car enthusiasts, capturing the spirit of NASCAR racing in the miniature racing world. Manufacturers such as Aurora, Tyco, Revell, and others capitalize on the NASCAR craze by creating intricately designed slot cars modeled after actual NASCAR race cars and drivers. These slot cars were detailed replicas, allowing fans to collect and race miniature versions of their favorite drivers' cars. The partnership between NASCAR and the slot car industry was mutually beneficial. For NASCAR, it was an avenue to extend its brand into the realm of hobbyist racing, reaching a different segment of enthusiasts who might not engage with full-scale racing. For slot car manufacturers, licensed NASCAR branding added authenticity and a popular theme to their product offerings, attracting a broader audience. However, as entertainment preferences shifted and technology evolved, slot car racing faced challenges. Video games, digital entertainment, and other hobbies took the spotlight, affecting the popularity of traditional slot car racing, including NASCAR-themed slot cars. This shift impacted the prominence of the relationship between NASCAR and slot cars. Nonetheless, the affinity for NASCAR-themed slot cars persists among collectors, enthusiasts, and fans of both NASCAR and slot car racing. Modern advancements have revitalized the slot car hobby, introducing digital slot car systems and more sophisticated tracks, reigniting interest and attracting new generations to the hobby. In essence, while the dynamics of the relationship have evolved over time, the nostalgia and enduring appeal of racing miniature NASCAR cars on slot tracks keeps the connection alive, ensuring that the influence of NASCAR on slot car racing remains a noteworthy part of the hobby's history and evolution. During the heyday of NASCAR slot cars in the 60s and 70s, several manufacturers played a significant role in producing and popularizing these miniature racing replicas. These companies focused on creating detailed, accurate models of NASCAR stock cars, catering to the growing interest in both slot car racing and the NASCAR racing scene. Aurora Plastics Corporation. Aurora was a major player in the slot car industry, especially during the 1960s. They produced a popular line of slot cars under the brand name Thunderjet 500, featuring various NASCAR models like Ford Galaxies, Plymouth Furies, and Chevrolet Impalas. Aurora slot cars were known for their durability and performance, making them a staple in many enthusiast collections. Tyco. Tyco became a dominant force in the slot car market during the 1970s. They produced a variety of NASCAR slot cars, often characterized by vibrant designs and competitive pricing. Tyco's offerings included replicas of popular NASCAR drivers and their cars, contributing to the growing appeal of slot car racing during that era. Lionel Corporation. Lionel, a well-known name in model trains, also ventured into the slot car market. They produced NASCAR-themed slot cars focused on authenticity and quality. Lionel's slot cars often featured intricate detailing and were prized by collectors for their craftsmanship. Revell. Revell was a prominent name in the model kit and slot car industry. They produced a range of slot cars, including NASCAR replicas. Revell's offerings were known for their attention to detail, and they created various models of popular NASCAR cars and drivers, appealing to collectors and enthusiasts alike. AMT, Aluminum Model Toys. AMT was renowned for its plastic model kits, but they also ventured into the slot car market. AMT made their entry into the slot car market in 1965 with 4 124 and 2 132nd scale kits. They shared a common chassis, but the 124 kit sported a larger Mabuchi 15R motor, while the 132nd kits had the Mabuchi FT16 motor. The bodies came from promotional models, which were also sold as static kits. They released NASCAR slot kits featuring notable drivers and cars, allowing enthusiasts to assemble and customize their miniature race cars. Ideal Toy Corporation. Ideal was another player in the slot car arena, manufacturing a line of NASCAR-themed slot cars during the heyday. Their slot cars often featured classic designs and were compatible with popular slot car tracks of that era. Monogram Models. Monogram was well known for producing plastic model kits, and they extended their offerings to slot cars. They produced NASCAR slot cars that replicated iconic race cars, capturing the essence of NASCAR racing in the miniature racing world. Carrera. Carrera, a European-based company, also made an impact on the slot car scene. Although primarily known for their high-quality tracks, Carrera produced NASCAR slot cars, attracting a global audience and contributing to the widespread popularity of slot car racing. Manufacturers seeking to create NASCAR slot cars must follow a similar approval process, adhering to NASCAR's guidelines and obtaining the necessary licenses. Manufacturers seeking to create NASCAR slot cars must follow a stringent approval process, adhering to NASCAR's guidelines and obtaining the necessary licenses. This ensures that the slot cars accurately represent the NASCAR brand, including the distinct designs of race cars, team liveries, and driver likenesses. Once licensed, manufacturers can proceed to create detailed and authentic slot cars that replicate specific NASCAR race cars. These slot cars often bear the logos and branding associated with the respective drivers, teams, and sponsors, maintaining a high level of accuracy to enhance the collectible and nostalgic value for enthusiasts. NASCAR licensing for slot cars serves multiple purposes. Authenticity and realism. Licensing allows for the creation of slot cars that faithfully mirror the look and feel of real NASCAR race cars, appealing to the fans who seek an authentic miniature racing experience. And recognition and loyalty. By utilizing official NASCAR branding, manufacturers can tap into the existing fan base, leveraging brand recognition and loyalty to enhance the popularity and marketability of the slot cars. Revenue generation. Licensing agreements entail financial arrangements that provide revenue to NASCAR. This income supports the organization and contributes to the growth and sustainability of the sport. In summary, NASCAR's licensing practices play a crucial role in ensuring that slot cars replicating NASCAR race cars maintain the integrity of their brand. It's a symbiotic relationship, benefiting both the slot car industry by providing fans with accurate replicas and NASCAR through brand representation and financial support. However, from time to time, the breakdown of licensing in the slot car industry leads to the creation of generic version of stock cars. The appearance of these stock cars can be attributed to several factors, primarily related to licensing costs, market dynamics, and changes in consumer preferences. Now, let's look a little deeper into these factors. Licensing costs. Acquiring licenses from major racing organizations like NASCAR involves significant cost. Licensing fees, royalties, and compliance with stringent brand guidelines can be financially burdensome for slot car manufacturers, especially smaller or niche companies. As a result, some manufacturers opt for producing generic slot cars without official branding to reduce expenses. Market dynamics and competition. The slot car industry is competitive, with manufacturers constantly vying for market share. Creating generic versions of stock cars allows manufacturers to enter the market quickly with diverse offerings, catering to a wider audience. This approach helps in maintaining competitive pricing and appealing to consumers who are less concerned with specific branding. Flexibility and customization. Producing generic slot cars provides manufacturers with the flexibility to design and customize cars without being restricted by the regulations and guidelines imposed by licensed properties. This freedom allows for creativity in design, colors, and features, enhancing the overall appeal to slot car enthusiasts. Targeting a global audience. Licensing agreements often pertain to specific regions or countries. By creating generic versions, manufacturers can cater to a global audience without the constraints of region-specific licensing agreements. This broadens the potential market reach and streamlines production. Avoiding licensing constraints. Licensing agreements typically involve restrictions on production quantities, distribution channels, or product variations. By producing generic slot cars, manufacturers can avoid these constraints and have more control over their product offerings, including quantities and distribution. Evolving consumer preferences. Over time, consumer preferences have shifted towards customization and personalization. Generic slot cars offer enthusiasts the opportunity to modify and personalize their cars to a greater extent compared to licensed replicas. This aligns with the trend of consumers seeking unique and individualized experiences. While generic versions of slot cars allow for cost-effective production and increased customization, they may lack the authenticity and recognition associated with licensed replicas. Enthusiasts who are diehard fans of specific racing league or drivers may still prefer the realism and accuracy offered by officially licensed slot cars, despite the higher costs associated with such models. Ultimately, the decision to produce licensed or generic slot cars is influenced by careful consideration of the market, production costs, consumer preferences, and strategic business objectives of the slot car manufacturers. As we touched on earlier, the popularity of NASCAR slot cars eventually waned in the 1970s and 1980s through the 1990s as other hobbies and forms of entertainment gained prominence. However, the nostalgia and interest in vintage toys and collectibles have led to a resurgence of NASCAR slot cars in recent years, with enthusiasts and collectors seeking out these miniature racing cars for display and restoration. Modern advancements have also brought about more sophisticated slot car technologies, appealing to both new and old fans of the hobby. In conclusion, the evolution of NASCAR slot cars and their generic counterparts has been a fascinating journey. Blending the excitement of racing with meticulous attention to detail, licensing has played a pivotal role, enabling enthusiasts to own miniature replicas of their favorite NASCAR vehicles and tracks. This intersection of motorsport passion and model car engineering has enriched the racing community, offering an immersive experience that mirrors the real thrill of NASCAR. As technology continues to advance, we can expect even more authentic and engaging interactions between the physical and digital realm, further enhancing the NASCAR slot car experience and captivating racing aficionados of all ages.